listen to the world, it sets your soul alight.
My name is Sam Martin. I am a singer-songwriter, and my new project Lakes has just released a new single. So it's still just me writing and recording all the music. But yeah, it's a whole new project with a completely different sound. And yeah, that's my new single Another Day was just released. I say just released, September 15th, my new single came out, and we're currently getting ready for third single to drop. So yeah, it's been very exciting.
So growing up, who were your musical influences?
I think like literally everything my parents listened to. I was a massive rock fan as a kid, and I still am. And I was still really into like just singer-songwriters of every kind of corner of the world. I was a really big Joni Mitchell and Neil Young fan, and then as I just got into more like guitar-based music, my dad would play me like Led Zeppelin, Eric Clapton, yeah, loads of Hendrix stuff. That's where the kind of guitar informed stuff came from. I was always really fascinated by guitar players, and then when I came to write my own music, I was pretty young, and like I said, I started releasing music as a solo artist, and I was just kind of really fixated on just great songwriting. I think that was like my main thing, just listening to great songwriters. So yeah, those are a few big ones.
Do you have a favourite venue or gig that you've played so far?
I think someone asked me this recently, and it was really hard because I can safely say that I've loved every bigger venue we've played. The shows have always been great. We played a really special show at the Camden Assembly. We sold out the Camden Assembly about 2 years ago, and just it was great. Loads of mates came down. We'd had it planned for ages. Me and my manager were kind of just really excited, and it was just one of those nights that came together really well. Like I said, we sold every ticket. We had a few held on the door for some people. A load of friends from like my hometown came, and yeah, they kind of brought their friends, and it was really special. I think it stood out because we just put a new single out. This was back when I was just playing my own stuff under my own name. That was a really special night. Yeah, it felt really magical.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your latest single?
Sure, yeah. So I flew to LA in March of 2019, and I had no real plan to go out there. I kind of booked this ticket to go to Los Angeles on a whim in February of that year, and then I went out and met a friend of mine who's a producer, and we started working on this song. And I didn't have any lyrics for it. I didn't have any real plan for what it was going to be. And yeah, that was actually the first song I recorded in LA, and I didn't have any of the vocals finished when I left. So I was kind of in the beginning of lockdown. I was splicing them between London and LA. I was like sending Tristan demos, and we were kind of piecing it together bit by bit. So it was kind of like this. It's kind of this Frankenstein song. I've kind of described it as like this weird sort of Frankenstein thing where I had ideas and I'd send them to him and he'd send me ideas, and then yeah, it came together pretty quickly. But the actual music of that song is quite old now. But lyrically and some of the other stuff, like the synth solo and stuff, I added like, it was literally finished kind of 3 months ago. And I couldn't wait to put it out. But I think it's like heart. It's just a song about missing someone and just wanting to be with someone you care about. And I think it ties into the whole lockdown thing quite well, because it's just about like not knowing when you're going to be able to see that person again. But yeah, that's the kind of lyric, like I'll see your face another day. Yeah, that's where that comes from. So it's quite soppy, but in a happy way. It's happy soppy.
Definitely. So your ideas for songs, do the lyrics come from like stories that you kind of make up, or are they just general things that you just randomly think about?
I think it's weird. When I was younger, I'd always write really like introspectively. Like when I first started writing lyrics when I was like 14, I'd always just write from my perspective. And then as I grew up and as I started kind of doing more touring and playing with more people, and I think just experiencing life, you kind of start writing from like everyone else's perspective as well. You write kind of in like a all-encompassing way where you know, you can write about like a world event that's happening or something that's happened to a friend. You know, the single before this, Internet Friends, was like kind of about this relationship we've all got with each other, and how whether you've got a real friend, an internet friend, someone you met online that you've spoken to once on Zoom, it doesn't really matter, because people are all that matters. And it's just that, it doesn't matter if you know someone in a virtual sense or a in-person sense, they're still your friend. I think that was kind of my first take on writing about a whole theme, if that makes sense, instead of just about something that's happened to me. So yeah, it's kind of random. It kind of comes to me in like different ways now, I guess.
I think it's the same for everyone. I think once you first start going into writing music, it is a lot of, like you say, your own kind of feelings or how you see things, but then you kind of, as you progress, you do kind of go onto the side of seeing it from other people's points of views and kind of getting it that way. But
yeah,
I think it's the same for everyone. I think everyone kind of starts with how they feel, because really it's the only thing they know how to write, I suppose, really.
Yeah,
but like
sure.
with experience and obviously how it goes about, you just obviously go your own way and find your own way of doing it.
Yeah, that's so true. It's just like you said, it's just literally experience. That's like the best way to put it. And I think you do just learn as you go. And also you live so much from when you're like, it sounds really silly, from when you're like 16 to when you're 21, 22, you change so much as a person. And that's what really informed me and what I write now. I think it's just life. It's as kind of cliche as it might sound. Yeah, just writing about human experience, I guess. But yeah.
Can you describe your music in 3 words?
I can. Fresh, upbeat, nostalgic, I guess. Yeah, fresh, upbeat, and nostalgic.
So for anyone that's not heard of your music before, what should they expect to hear?
I think just as much as I hope it is, just in like pop music that just gets in your head and makes you feel good. Because I was saying this I was talking to a friend recently, and we were just talking about the kind of ethos behind the music and why I wanted to start doing it and why I decided to start it this year. And it just comes back to making people feel good. And I think if you can do that in anything you do, that's a really big achievement. But yeah, I just wanted, my old stuff was, it was kind of slower, kind of in a different pace. Like I said, it was very introspective. So my goal with Lakes was just to write catchy, upbeat pop songs and, still really relatable. I think that's probably how I should have described it in 3 words. It's like relatable, nostalgic, fresh, relatable, and nostalgic. Can we just like crowbar that in?
That's fine.
Sweet, yeah. That was my biggest thing. I was sat with my producer and I was like, I want people to be able to relate to this, because it shouldn't just be like specific to one person. If this situation's happened to you, maybe you can interpret the lyrics in a different way, or I think to a degree that's what I've always tried to do. But yeah, I would say I hope people feel spoken to with it, if that makes sense.
What would you say makes your music stand out from others?
I think at the moment it's very, from what I've listened to and everything that I wanted it to sound like, I didn't want to sit and be like, I want Lakes to sound like this or this thing or this band. Obviously there are resemblances to some stuff. I think it sounds unique to me and to like the way I produce things and to the way I've recorded music for so long, and I'm really into kind of, I take things from different decades and put them in the songs, if that makes sense. Like when I'm producing stuff and I'm writing, guitar parts and I'm creating sounds to put in, I try and keep it eclectic. I think that's the main thing. I think it sounds quite eclectic, because like this next single sounds so different from the last one, but it's still inherently me, if that, it's kind of like, it's still got a lot of like Lakes DNA in it, I guess. Yeah, I think it's just it's universal. I think anyone can just pop it on and just be like, oh yeah, okay, I'm into that. It's kind of not too far either way, if it's probably the best way I put it.
Obviously your way of writing's changed over the years. Do you feel like it's easy as well to change your sound if you feel you want to change it in a way? do you think it's quite an easy process to go from one sound to another and kind of still get people to listen to it?
Yeah, I think my mind's always changing on like what I love, and even just down to like the music I'm listening to. So like I love like 80s guitar sounds, like chorus drenched, reverb drenched, like really dreamy, synthy guitar stuff. And that kind of comes out in Another Day a lot. Like that's the first song I've ever put a synth solo in. Like I would never have thought 2 years ago I'd be going like, yeah, you're gonna put a Juno synth solo in the middle of your like happy love song. And I was like, okay, that's different. And I think I just have to be brave to just change. And I think we all have to just push button and go if we feel like we want to change something and you want to try and innovate. I've kind of always been proud of myself in that sense of like, I'll always try new things. And if I love it, great. If I don't, you don't have to do it again, kind of thing. But I think I'm quite kind of comfortable now with going down new directions and stuff. And that's ultimately why Lakes even exists, I guess. So yeah.
So where you're based at the moment, do you
Mhm.
feel the music scene, there's enough around to help people like yourself out, or do you feel there could be a little bit more to kind of help bands or artists like yourself?
Yeah, I think, I mean, growing up in like Oxfordshire, I think I always credit the Oxford music scene to being this like hub of just hyper talented, really, really community driven musicians who just support each other. And I know it's different from town to town. I think what Oxford does in a good sense is like it's very kind of all encompassing. Like everyone can play anywhere. And then, I remember playing like my first open mics and people were super sweet and friends would come down and stay till the end because I could only play like 2 songs and they'd be like, oh no, it's cool, man. Like we'll stick around for your 2 covers. And I think it's great. I think it's absolutely devastating and something that I stand for a lot and I feel really strongly about is like saving venues and, kind of like the let the music play movement when that was happening at the start of lockdown. It's devastating like how much of a hit the whole entertainment industry has taken. I think the only thing I'd change is just if there was more money being put into these like grassroots venues for them to survive. But that's my like priority. And if I ever, I'm not ever probably going to be the richest man in the world, but if I ever had money, that's definitely what I would put money into, because those are the places that now allow me to make a living from music. So, yeah.
Definitely, I agree with you on that one. I
Thank you.
feel myself when I've been to gigs, the better gigs that I've ever been to are the smaller venues. I seem
Yeah.
to find that they're a lot better. I mean, I enjoy a gig anyway, any
Mm.
time, but I think it's more intimate when it's in a smaller room and it's a smaller venue. It
Oh,
just feels a
definitely.
lot different. And like you
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
it's so sad to see like ones that have been around for years and years just not
yeah.
knowing that you're not going to open the doors again. It's
Right.
gutted, really.
Yeah.
And you think, well, if they're not going to be around, how are the next generation going to get out there,
Yeah.
and how are you going to actually
Exactly.
get your name out there? Just nowhere to
Yeah.
play.
Precisely. That's the best way to put it. Is like, how are you going to get your name out there? How are you going to pursue what you love? Because those venues are the only reason that these like mega stars even exist. Like, everyone starts somewhere. And I know it's like an old argument, but it's true. And yeah, I'm glad that so many other people share that opinion as well, because it's super important.
Do you have any more music coming out anytime soon?
I do. um, so yeah, we're currently we sent off the third single 3 days ago, and I'm going to be announcing a release date soon, but it's going to be out before Christmas. And there's also an EP coming, which I'm really really excited for, because I love releasing singles. I love it. It's fun kind of building up to it, but I love EPs, and I grew up on albums. So for someone to have like a body of music to listen to is kind of more satisfying in a way. So yeah, we're kind of in a distanced sense getting the EP together and like mastering it, getting the last of the songs, like little finishing touches done. But yeah, the next single will be out very soon.
You've mentioned a little bit there, but do you have any
Hmm.
plans for the rest of this year and also next year?
Sure. Yeah, we're obviously, lockdown has taken a massive toll. We had like about 17, 18 festivals planned this year, which all gradually got postponed and cancelled, which is devastating. But at the moment, we're just in the process of rearranging those shows and yeah, getting the ball rolling for 2021. So I think our first gig is like April, and then in theory, this is obviously if everything is okay, we run right the way through to November next year. Like I always have my year planned out like a year in advance, because I'm a bit of a kind of, I just worry about time and getting things like prepared. I'm super organized, and yeah, I just shows, just so many shows. All I can say for 2021 is just play and play and play until my hands fall off. Yeah, so that's what our next year is going to look like, I think. Yeah.
If you had to be remembered for one thing apart from your music, what would you like it to be?
That's a really good question. I think probably like my loyalty to people. I don't know. I want people to think I was a good friend, and I'd want to be remembered for just my loyalty to the people I love, I guess. I don't think anything else would really matter to me that much, as long as people, yeah, as long as people remember you for who you really were. Yeah, loyalty.
Do you have a favourite highlight from your career so far?
Yes, I opened for James Bay, and it was the most incredible gig. And obviously that wasn't my own gig, but that was a really, really cool career highlight. And also, yeah, there was this whole kind of span of 2018 towards the end of the year where we were, you know, my manager was booking these shows, and I kind of couldn't believe I was playing them. And then we sold out Ronnie Scott. Actually, that's probably my highlight. That's, you know, playing with James was amazing. I think as far as my own career and my own gig goes, we sold out Ronnie Scott at the end of 2018, which is like I said, growing up on Clapton and Hendrix and like Cream, that was such a crazy career milestone to hit so young. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of pinching myself for days after that, going like, oh my god, we actually did it. Like, we pulled it off. How did anyone let us do that? Do you know what I mean? It was like, oh, that was actually a thing. And it was great. It was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, that was a big highlight.
Do you have a dream venue that you'd love to play?
Oh yeah, I would love to play the Royal Albert Hall. That's a big one. That's a very, very big one. Like, just I've seen shows in that venue, and I think I've got a different one for every country. If I'm being really silly, I'd say like the Budokan Arena in Japan, like that massive arena. But I think being more like intimate, yeah, Royal Albert Hall, it's got to be. Just the acoustics are amazing. I saw Carole King play a gig there, just her and her piano. And she could have unplugged, like she didn't even have to have a PA. She could have just played acoustic and you would have been able to hear her. That was absolutely untouchable. Yeah.
Obviously, it's been a bit of a strange year. How have you found creating music and keeping the connection between you and the fans during this strange time?
I've actually had, it sounds really funny. It was a really horrible start to the year. And you know, I was supposed to be going to LA and to work on new music and be with everybody over there. And then the first thing I said is like, we've just all got to stick together. Like, this is terrible for everybody. And everybody in a lot of ways is in the same, we're all in the same situation. Obviously everyone's scenario is different, but all I've said to my friends is just keep the people you love around you, do what you love. I think this is the time where everyone is just, the best thing you can do is just do what you were put on earth to do, you know, whatever it is. If you're a journalist, you know, be a journalist, interview, ask questions. If you're a musician, create music. Don't let being inside stop you from doing what you love. And I think I'd just say, stay hopeful. This will all change and this will end. But yeah, just keep pursuing what you love and keep doing what you love doing. And yeah, you'll get through. I think that's what I've had to tell myself every day, because there have been some really tough days, but majoritively I'm kind of like, you know what, I'm I'm grateful for what I do. So yeah.
That's it. It is, like you say, it is a tough time, and I think sometimes you just need something like that. Like you say, you just they'll talk to yourself every now and again, saying, "Look, just get on with it. This is what you
Sure.
want to do. Get on with
Yeah,
it." Because if you
absolutely.
sit around moping, it's not going to change anything, is it?
Exactly. I mean, look at you. You're literally sat doing an interview right now, and it's like it would be so easy to just not do anything, and anyone creative to just be like, "Oh, we'll wait till after lockdown," and that's fine. And if you feel like you need to wait, that's totally cool. But like, if you feel down because you're not doing what you love, then do what you love still. You know, just at a safe distance.
2 meter distance.
Yeah, 2 meters distance. That's all that matters. Yeah.
No, that's it.
Amazing.
Is there any other information that you want me to put onto the interview?
I don't think so. No, other than the fact that the single's out, and yeah, just the links to stuff would be amazing. And just thank you so much for doing this. Honestly, it's been really. I've been so looking forward to it all week. This is the first one I've done this week, so like, yeah, I'm well happy, and it's so lovely to meet you as well. Amazing. Thank you so much. It was so lovely to meet you.
And you.
Cool.
Okay.
Have a lovely weekend.
And
Bye.
you. Cheers. Bye.
Yeah.